But yeah, thank you for having me on. I'll let you introduce me, Greg Arcade.
He's introducing his own god dang self. We are talking to Greg Arcade, and I want people to go check him out. The best place I would think is gregarcade.com. There you can find all of his music, and you can also find his writing at gregarcade.substack.com. You can find him on Twitter at Greg Arcade. He's also on Telegram. He's got a pretty good Telegram channel as well. I think that's the legendary Greg Arcade, if I'm not mistaken.
The Legend of Greg Arcade. Kind of like a Western movie would be titled, right?
Yeah, and so for people who don't know, there's some songs that some people might be aware of, but if they're not aware, go check them out right now. Pause this and go listen to them. The four that I think people talk about the most would be from your recent album, which would be which is Soundtrack to the Collapse. We've got The Great Awakening, The Ballad of James Top. Also, there's some couple from the past, like Bury Me With My Boots On and Come and Get It. Those got a lot of views up on Spotify and YouTube, so go check those four out. Then
not on Spotify, man. I refuse the Zog. Absolutely refuse the Zog. Because what happened on Spotify, what I realized, sorry to interrupt the intro, but I think it's important to get to, especially for your listener base, because why would I not be on there, right? Like that seems like a revenue stream. Well, first off, you can't chase the music or chase the money in music. Second of all, Spotify's algorithms are messed up, and it's a really messed up company when you start to dig into it. So they don't have anything out there about the algorithmically generated music, but I'm sure they do that. There's so many artists out there that don't really exist, but they're all over Spotify. And another thing is they kind of have a very strong algorithm that makes people stupid over time. And sorry if you're a Spotify listener, but say you have a free account and you're listening to an album, immediately after that album, they're going to push you a song that someone went into their business meeting and told them, hey, let's prop this song up. Let's push it right after that. There was one that was called like Uncle Lucius, Keep the Wolves Away or something. Like, I hate that song. And it kept coming up for me for like 2 years until I started like realizing what's going on. I'm like, why? Like I block this stuff all the time. It keeps coming up. So what I did to counter that was learn a little bit of like JavaScript and PHP code. And so when you buy one of my albums on gregarcade.com, it actually has kind of like a Spotify style ad-free listener thing that you can like navigate away from, and it'll play on a loop until you close the browser if you use it on your phone or if you use it on your computer. And you can use like the controls on your phone and computer as well too to pause and play it. So I don't know, it's pretty cool. Like it sucks in a bit because it's like, I get a lot of streams on those from the people who bought the album, but I don't get money from those streams. But at the end of the day, it's not about getting that money. It's not about getting these big numbers on Spotify to impress a bunch of people who hate you and are probably like gay, so
no, but that's it. I really admire that entrepreneurial effort, and that's something we try and do with our show as well, is trying to create a hub that we control, even if it takes a bit of time and costs a bit of money, because I really don't have faith in a lot of these platforms. Now, your content, your music, I wouldn't say is even outwardly offensive like our show. For the record, Spotify was the only platform that really banned our show. We're everywhere else. We're on Apple Music. We're on Google Play. But it was Spotify that got us kicked off pretty early on as well. So I got a bit
But who cares too, man? Because like, okay, I know there's people who are going to be listening to your show.
And let me just say this as a preface. Sorry. I am a whore. I am a prostitute for content.
No, you're not. No, the whores are out there though. And the thing about like, why would you, if you care about an artist, why would you listen to them on Spotify? It's different for a podcast because podcasters don't get remunerated, but to think that you're paying $10 a month, that any of that's going to go to a band that thinks like you, that holds the same values as you, that is not trying to subvert your children and subvert people that are like you, right? Because you got to be really careful with it. There's a lot of really strange psyops out there, and those guys are going to get money. Those numbers are going to get skewed so that those guys get paid out by the system because their labels are going to go talk to Spotify because they're all buddy. It's a giant Ponzi scheme. It's a giant money laundering scheme. And all the little guys, of that $10 a month you pay to Spotify, you're thinking maybe a buck will go there. Try like 1/4000th of a cent will
Yeah.
go to someone who's playing on Spotify. So I'd rather just focus on, so what? I have 300 dickhead friends who buy my music or something like that, right? Like I think the number's bigger than that now, but just spitballing off the top of my head, I'd rather just play music for them. I'd rather not deal with all these, like, what am I going to do? Put my stuff up on Spotify and then someone's going to go, oh, he was being racist on Twitter. So he can, like, it's like, I wasn't even being racist. I was just pointing something out. Well, that's racist now because they said so on the article that the Jewish gentleman wrote about him, and it's like,
we have a very similar experience because we kind of got into podcasting not late, but there was like a period where, and you can make a podcast where you said anything. Like my memory is that there's this show I'm sure some people are aware of called Fash the Nation. There was like a period where that was like the number 2 podcast on Spotify. That like there was a period where you could be on YouTube saying this sort of stuff and get blasted everywhere. Those days are effectively over, and it's not easy to get an audience anymore. Couple that with what we call dead internet theory, where most of the traffic is fake anyway.
I'm a big proponent of dead internet. But the thing is, it's not fake if you're us, man. Because just this, you built your own platform. I built my own platform. I see the results because people send me messages when my CD shows up at their house. And it's like, this just like made my week better. Like one girl wrote she was not going to get on the truck today or something because my album showed up. Like, and what that means is like, giving up either on your life or giving up on just what you're doing. And it's like, could I have 5 years ago thought I'd be in this position? When I'm still hiding around the old fake and gay, the long ago, the before times with all the grups were there, but they're gone now. If you remember that Star Trek line. Yeah. But which, back in the day, I could enjoy that show and I can't now because I know space is fake and gay. But it's just like, you were hiding around this world that hated you and getting no results, but pretending things were great. And now a bunch of people called us racists on the internet, and a bunch of other people who also dislike the people who called us those names are like, okay, I'll give this guy a chance because like those people hate him.
Yeah,
I think there's that quote
audience that is more reliable as well.
But the quality of your character is based on the people who dislike you. Not that's a big thing, right? Like if a vile goblins dislike you, good. Like life's not supposed to be easy. Life's like this crazy RPG adventure is a thing that I'm coming to realize.
No matter how difficult it is, it's the best job you ever had, I bet.
Yeah.
And also I my main job, my career of the past decade or so has been in marketing.
Doxed. I got him, guys. I got him. Let's get out of here.
Fuck this. And I'm just here like, man, I can't wait to be shot. I can't wait. Just fucking do it. But
you're not going to get shot yet. You have to be used for a psyop first.
Like, exactly. Come on. Exactly. I at least like to be usable, but I work in marketing. And so I happen to know that a lot of people have these dreams of having access to the mainstream. And I can say, having worked with everything from influencer agencies to speaking with a lot of these like higher end platform reps, like they can't control their traffic. They don't know how much of it's real. And most influencer marketing agencies, like that handle the influencers, it's all a giant shell game. It's all fucking fake. Like it's and there's a big.
You want to get to the top of the country music charts on Apple Music? Maybe you got to spend $5,000. That's about it. Because nobody's selling records.
Exactly. And there's a big problem. That's a problem that influencers are talking like, look, we have these numbers, but it's not translating to sales. It's not translating to anything fucking real.
Yeah. Like, okay. That's the thing, right? Like, okay. So a few years back, I started standing up against like the giant gay op, right? And so I got called anti-Semitic by Jewish hate blog and the Canadian Anti-Hate Network, which is
we covered the hate gate document that was released a couple live streams ago.
It's literally like they just pissed their pants that they're mad that they were wrong.
Yeah.
Like they're just like, no, there has to be this so that we have some fash to fight as the communist revolution. It's like, shut the fuck
If
up, man.
you look
Like
into the
nobody
full
gives a
story,
fuck.
it's
But
so much faker than you could ever imagine. It's like
yeah,
2
man.
guys in a room who run this organization.
So yeah, but they get funded by the government because Heritage Canada is a nightmare of like BIPOC diversity. But I won't get into that just yet. I want to get to my point. So that article came out, and then I got kind of like ostracized by a lot of people. And at the time, I wasn't as spiritually strong or like have a community of people around me because I came from that fake world. I thought I had friends. I didn't. They abandoned me. I've made friends now who stand by me, who like love when I tear shit up on the internet, right?
If you want might
But
be positive, if you could go into, like, that whole story of the article once you're done, I'd love to circle back to that.
you guys should read the article. It actually makes me sound awesome. That's what all my friends have told me. I've also wrote a really, really scolding response to them when they emailed me, which I could probably dig up and send to you too. It's like really funny. I just call them like pedophiles and goblins and ghouls, and nobody likes them and they have no taste because it's the truth, right? And it's not like I was being mean for mean's sake. I was literally combating an enemy who was coming to attack me. And so essentially they wrote this article because I started helping Jeremy McKenzie, the veteran, right? Because they canceled his web presence, tried to take his website. And I'm like, F that. I can have this up by the end of the day. So I did. Right. And it's not like I was ever a trained web guy. I just knew how to do it because I didn't have a ton of money to support my music career. So I had to figure out how to do a lot of things for myself, like graphic design, web, press writing, releasing, production, playing all these instruments. Right. And so uh they wrote this article, and I guess like the big thing was that the Manitoba Country Music Awards took away my award that they gave me for Roots Artist of the Year. First off, I'm not Roots Country. I don't know what I am, but those people have no idea what they're doing, and they've never sold a record in their life. So why are they an authority on the matter? Oh, because you just call yourself an authority and you are in this gay country of ours. But so what my response to that was, I took my award out to the forest and we tied a tub of tannerite to it and we blew it up. Right? Because it's like, yeah, like kiss my ass, I don't care. And so they just had their little awards again this last few years. And look at like the awards they're giving away to people. They'll give these awards to like someone who's put out 2 songs this year. I put out like 4 albums this last year. Like a bunch of cover songs, a bunch of singles, an EP, this album I put out, uh, like nonstop content, and helped other people put out albums as well too. And that's all real because it went to real people. And a lot of these guys, when you look at their presence online, whom I won't name, they buy they'll buy 200,000 views for their songs. They'll buy this, they'll buy that. Dude, I started an Instagram account when I was going to do that fundraising show for the guys in Olds, Alberta, the Coots 4 who are in remand still. And so I started this Instagram account, and after I got back, it's just kind of sitting there. And so I started reposting videos from Working Man memes on Telegram, like it's a
I know
great
the
channel.
one. I know
Yeah,
the
but what I
one.
did was change the music because they would post the video from the original spot, but the music sucked. It was like weird new rap. And so I'd like change it to be like Kenny Loggins' Danger Zone or some old George Jones song. And these videos got like millions of views. One of them's about to crack 5 million views, these little like meme videos in the reels. And so my account started like going up. Like in a week, it went up like 10,000 people who I'll never meet, who will never support my music because Instagram's a super gay and useless social media. Like 200 Telegram fringe enjoyers are better than 20,000 of these people from the old world who can't even realize that like they're being poisoned by their governments. Right. So like, I don't know. It's just like back to Owen Benjamin. He said, "You got kicked out of hell. Why are you so unhappy?" And the truth is we did get kicked out of hell, man. like they're trying to bring people back to join the United States Army, go die for Israel. Like, you guys got a free pass to leave. They kicked you out before doing this giant sin to you. Don't go back.
And they
And
just let
it's,
you know that they want you, that you have some kind of power over them too.
well, you have a power over them because they have a power over you. right? They need you right now, but they won't need you later. They don't actually care about you. There's not actually a real power over anybody in any way. It's just a desire to have you do the dirty work for them. And so just, I don't know, disconnect from that dumb shit that you don't have to do. And it's the same thing for me. Would I ever go back to playing a smelly cigarette bar room again? Maybe once or twice for my friends. For one of my friends' private bars, anytime, right? But like for the public, that's a tall ask. Man, okay. This is a bit of a tangent, but it's a really funny story. So, I live in a cold part of the world, which is Manitoba, and there was like this sideways icy rain, and it messed up the lock on our car to the point that the lock won't work, but the fob works. So I drove just to the liquor store last weekend to grab a couple beers, and I didn't bring the fob with me. I locked the door, and I'm like, shit, because I had to walk all the way home because I couldn't find a cab or a bus or anything that would pick me up between my house and where this liquor store is located. And by the time I got back, I was talking to some buddies on the phone because I was just so bored. Like it was like a 2 hour walk, right? And there was this scent on the wind, and it smelled like urinal pucks and 3-day old cigarette butts that have been festering there in the cold with kind of like a burnt gasoline, deep fried food stank.
I know
Just
that
coming.
smell.
Yeah. And it was just coming in on the wind. And I was just like, thank you, God. Thank you, Lord Jesus Christ, because you're not making me live that life anymore. Because that was what I smelled like 4 days of the week. We'd be living, like we'd leave like one stupid place on a Thursday where we made too little money to go to a place on a Friday where we're so popular as a packed bar, but we made too little money. And same with Saturday and Sunday, there's like an open mic or something near the backing band for it. And it's just like, that was the smell that was on the wind every night that you left. And it'd be like 3 a.m. and you're tired. And it is just like, man, I don't want to go back to that world ever again. And we don't have to. We can build such a better, more beautiful place. And don't get me wrong, I like to have a drink once in a while. I like to steal a cigarette. It happens. I quit smoking a couple of years ago, but I still enjoy tobacco on occasion. It's just more the whole like, that's your fresh air. What's your real fresh air? Is your fresh air the air in your home with your family, or is your fresh air this stanky old urinal puck stank? And that's the world you get had you not been kicked out of this nonsense. It's funny too. I sell a lot more records now than I did back then, and people actually enjoy them. So,
Well, I know a lot of people aren't too big on Gavin McInnes these days, but I think back in the day, who's a lot of people's kind of inroad into wherever they end up on
he did
this
a
side.
lot of work for bringing people out of that world, like for giving them like a little bit of, dare I say, a red pill. But then he did some really gay shit, man. But
Yeah, yeah. And like especially with Milo, like literally gay stuff.
He put a
And
dildo in his butt, man.
yeah, that's never a good bit. It's
Yeah,
never
it's never
what's
a
the
good bit.
punchline to that?
I heard
Or
he
like
had. Okay, I don't want to cut you off here. I just said so. Let's talk about it after. He had a redemption arc recently, didn't he? I heard. I don't know. I don't pay attention to him. But what point were you getting at?
I was going to say, also every time I tune into him, he's kind of like Owen Benjamin. I don't watch him too much anymore, but then I remember, damn it, you know what? He is funny. Every time, like I'll come across a tweet or a video where they genuinely make me laugh. I'm like, ah, man, I miss guy like funny guys. But yeah, Gavin
You know what?
McInnes.
Oh, sorry.
I'll just say quickly, Gavin
Yeah.
McInnes, his thing was when he kind of got whatever we call it, red pilled, whatever you might call it. He said that he lost a lot of friends, he lost a lot of business, but when you do that, you send up like a signal flare into the sky, so
Way
you
more
actually
people come
attract
running.
other
Yeah.
people, which I like to tell people that. I haven't done that myself because I haven't been doxxed, but I always think like, you know what? And my wife has said to me, like, you know what? Maybe if you just do it, like, you'll lose some, like a lot of my family might not talk to me, but also like you'll probably attract a lot of business, a lot of whatever you're looking for by people knowing that you're a real person.
You get way more cool people in your life. Like the credibility I have now because I got called an anti-Semite by some government web blog is insane. People will be like, people in Canada hate Canadian country artists because they're like the softest fucks in the world. But then people will be like, there's that Greg guy, and you'll get like a bunch of people who are like, that guy's an asshole. And it's like, well, you're not wrong. You know, like you got to kind of be a dick to do what I do or do what I did. Because it's not easy.
Yeah, be
But
the
also,
inverse of Matt Good. Matt Good had no problem being an asshole for, shit libbery. You
yeah.
can be the asshole on the other side of it.
Well, it was more, you got to realize that people are always trying to screw you over. So if you if you go to somebody who's like, okay, you have to work for free for me tonight, be like, no, you got to pay me. Oh, what's with the attack? You know, like that's essentially what it is. Like playing music, it's insane. But um, there would be some people in the crowd now who go like, no, that guy's based. Like that guy's hilarious. And it's like, I'm not a perfect leader. And this is the point I was going to interrupt to tell you with Gavin or with Owen. Nobody should feel bad if they enjoy those guys' content. Like you have to look at everybody, myself included, yourself included, and just be like, there's going to be things we do that they do not appreciate, you know? And, but there's going to be things we do that we do appreciate. And a big problem on our side is the purity spiral. And I say purity spiral, a lot of people in the audience won't know what I mean. It essentially means this. It's like, I'm not going to be your perfect little best boy to lead you out of this problem. You need to be a good, strong man or woman, whoever's listening. I don't know what your demographic is. I assume dudes, because it's
a
like
surprising amount of women. Let me just say
what?
that.
They're just looking for hot guys.
Looking for hot Canadian dick.
Hot Canadian penis. You got to cut that out and
no, I'm going to amplify it. Okay.
No, I mean make a sound clip like you're listening to Blood Satellite. Hot Canadian penis. Anyway, you got to cut that out.
For men, not anything. No, not that. Like you're thinking. You're thinking it's not that. It's for girls.
Yeah. Also, pornography makes you gay. No dicks ever.
Turns into a 40-minute clip of like,
oh my gosh, it's just like trying to navigate the what's acceptable to say on our side thing.
And if you say I'm gay, it's actually opposite day.
Yeah, and you're also gay for me. I got a funny story about that too. Hold on. But there's no perfect leaders. That's essentially it. You can take good things from what these guys say, but also realize that devotion to somebody who is just another man is not good. And it's not just like right-wing influencers. It's like a sports guy. It's like this new guy who time warped from the 70s into Argentina to lead them. Like, you know, like Miel or whatever his name is. But like all the camera footage is like old 70s footage. Have you noticed that? It's like,
I have.
Is this guy's brand? Like,
is he
just doing the Blink 182 first date video?
Like I keep peeking my eyes over the fence at what's going on down there. I'm like, I don't know what this is. I haven't been paying attention.
But you don't have to care. That's a nice thing. Because it doesn't matter. It matters when it comes to your doorstep, dude. It's the same thing with like this Israel-Palestine stuff. It's the same thing with all of it. I don't care. And it's not that I don't care. I'm being proactive in my life. I'm building a family. I'm building a future. I'm building a home. I'm learning to garden. I'm getting really good at gardening. I'm doing more than that though too, right? Like get better at hunting, get better at absolutely everything in your life. I suck at fishing. I have to work on that more, but I'll get there. But I
got lucky with fishing one time, so I've been talking like I know how to fish. But yeah,
you're just batting 1,000. You're like, I'm never fishing again.
Yeah, I caught it. I caught the fish. So I
tried once, caught the fish. Why would I go again? Still in my.
I'm not making the same mistake I did with mini putt, where I did one good game and then it's just been a fucking lifetime of tragedy ever since.
But okay, back to my point. It's just like. Man, all right. I don't remember what my point was, but maybe we should just be honest with your audience here that today was Christmas tree day for my family, and I drank a whole bottle of rum with eggnog, so I'm doing my best holding on. But you guys have to hold my hands.
You
so I
sound
can
way
feel
much
things.
better than I would have. I haven't drank in a couple of years, but I know what I sound like. Old episodes of the podcast, people could probably hear where I was drunk. But I was going to mention to you, a lot of what you had just said is articulated in a Substack you wrote that I would encourage people to read, called "So You Want to Be a Nationalist."
Yeah.
Um, there's a lot you said here that echoes what we've been talking about on the show, and what you just said about sort of taking care of your own self-interest. That's something we've been talking about over the past few episodes, about how I don't think a lot of Canadians, especially Canadians in our political milieu, really
Mhm.
know what our self-interest is. We haven't really thought about it. We kind of watch international politics like we're watching a Marvel movie or a game of some kind, where we're kind of hoping that our guys backslash our guys win, but there's no evidence that the people we think are our guys will like us or act within our self-interest. You know what I mean?
Nothing we watch on the black scrying mirrors that are in our hands is ever going to be beneficial for us. Not, it just won't. Like, and that's just, let's just accept that, guys. There's things that are good. There's things that are beneficial to us that are seemingly, but in the long play, all of that is like an evil tool. You know what's beneficial? When you put that shit down and you go knock on your neighbor's door and you go like, "Hey man, you need help cutting down that branch that's about to fall on your car where you park it." You know, you go do that because that's building community right there. Or you go, "All right, the grocery store sells food that makes the frogs gay, but also makes me gay," right? But it does, and it legitimately does. Uh, I went to a business meeting uh, last weekend, 2 weekends ago, and they were buying lunch. So I just got the burger because I don't like to get something ridiculous if they're buying lunch, because it makes me feel like I have to put out later. But but the girl came up and asked me any allergies, and I said, yeah, soy, as a joke. And she came back and she's like, yeah, all the burgers have soy in them, because they probably pre-buy the burgers or they mix in the soy because they are poisoning you. And so, that's happening. So if you find a place to buy eggs from a dude who's just like, hey, I've got like 12 chickens, can't keep up with the eggs, I'm like, I'll give you $5 for a bunch of eggs every couple of weeks. Like that's going to make you healthier. And that's how you actually beat this system. And I know that there's going to be people out there who are like, look, if I don't don my skull mask and go stick stickers everywhere and fight for our future, it's like, no, that's like cool. Like, do that if you want to do that. But you know what's cooler? It's like, have a baby with someone you
Yeah.
love. Like,
You
that's
sound a
cooler.
lot like my co-host who couldn't be here this episode, but he's doing the exact
Why?
same thing.
Where is he? Is he masturbating?
He might be
Disgusting.
whacking off
Oh,
somewhere.
he's whacking off
But he's somewhere in
in my
Canada
trailer.
whacking off.
Man.
But like he actually lived in Hong Kong. He ran a business there for a while. He's a Canadian guy, moved there, moved back, and he's living in a rural house and getting into gardening.
Sorry,
Getting
just being a dick.
No, every time I see him, I'm like, he makes furniture. That was his thing. He was running like a factory over there, making custom furniture. I'm gonna do that to him now. I'm gonna make this a sound drop and just pepper it in,
dude.
But yeah,
Dude, I'll just come on all your shows and be like disappointed in everyone. That's what I do for everybody on the internet already.
We need a passive aggressive third mic.
I'm in.
We need someone to go and like, oh, so interesting. Okay, so that's you. That's you. That's you. Oh, so you like that. So you do that. Okay.
Oh,
interesting. Is that good or bad? No, it's just interesting.
Yeah. Oh.
Just the sound of you writing something down on the mic.
You'll just send me a message on Telegram when someone's pissing you off on the show, and I'll just pop on and just like, oh, really?
Oh, okay. Is that good for you?
Your audience is listening to this podcast right now like, man, this guy don't shut up, does he?
No, they're saying that's a good ass idea. I know my audience. They're loving. They're taking
I'll do
notes
it
right now.
You know what? For Christmas, I'm gonna give you a coupon book that's gonna have like 3 coupons for like whenever you want. You'll message me when you're pre-recording the show, and I'll come on and be discerning.
Then you just respond to me like, okay, so you want that now? Just
Oh, always. I
hug.
don't care. Have
Cu-
you
cu-
not seen me join streams randomly on the internet?
I thought you were gonna be passive aggressive towards me with the passive
No,
aggressive book.
absolutely not. I'm on your side. I am here to bully your
Okay,
guest, and
okay,
also
that's
probably you and your audience. So
I can
everyone.
take it. My audience, some
Hmm.
people of my audience have bullied me unfairly,
Oh,
and
have they? Hmm.
they know they're gonna get something coming to them soon.
It's it's me. It's the Greg Arcade Bullies Blood Satellite episode.
Oh, they're gonna
That's a
love
good
that.
episode. That's a good episode. We could do merch for that episode.
Let's pen that one in for later. Fuck, I forgot what I was going to talk about. I think I had a
I
point and I
I
completely
warned
lost
you
it.
before we started talking that I will tangent and we will not cover most of the stuff we try to.
I remember one thing I wanted to mention. You're talking about before about. I just want to mention this before I forget. You're talking about the music industry and kind of leaving it. You did have this Substack. I would encourage people to read called Standards, and that kind of articulates another level to what you were saying there. Because I just find that the story of your time in the music industry so interesting. And you had mentioned
This
something
guy
there.
read my stuff. This is fucking weird.
He's one of these reading
Well,
guys here
and
about.
don't get me wrong, I wasn't like a prominent character. I wasn't some like big time guy, but I was in and around it within my own market, right? And so I speak from my own experiences and I speak from actual stuff I did instead of just being like, oh, these guys in the internet are so stupid. I heard that they're gay lords. It's like, no, like I'll say that on Twitter, but never in my Substack.
Well, you had made a
You know,
point about about the hunger people might have for political views more aligned with yours. Like, is the country music scene in Canada broadly like? What's your
oh
take on
man.
that? And
So everyone up here is okay. Every musician up here is like even the guys who say they're on your side, the guys who secretly message me later to be like, hey, you were right this whole time. Hey, like, but hey, I appreciate that you said those things now. I get it. It's like they're still fucking losers to me because it's like, why didn't you stand up? Like, where was your dick when we were getting attacked? And when I was getting attacked, because it turns out I was the only guy who was getting fucking attacked for a while there. You look around and Canadian country music, what exalts Shania Twain with that mask wearing gay country singer, they only care because he's gay and can. It's like, oh, how degenerate can it be? Then it's good. It's a subversion of this white art form, which
yeah,
is
they love
country music.
country artists that will like make country fans pissed off.
It's not that they'll make country fans pissed off. It's that they'll defeat country fans. So the Dixie Chicks, here's a great example. Now the Dixie Chicks spoke out against the old George Bush wars, right? And that was a faux pas in country music back in the day. However, they were right at that moment. But if you look at the grand scheme, that was more of an attack on white folk. And now they changed their name to the Chicks because Dixie, well, we can't glorify Southern culture. We can't let people look into what the American Civil War is actually about and the people who funded each side. We can't
I'm
let
more
people do
offended
that.
by the chicks, to be honest.
Yeah, I know, because they're all three dudes and everyone's a tranny. So,
Oh, so you listen to Paranormies as well? I can see.
oh, I'm a big fan, and also I would call myself an internet friend of a few of those guys. So I do
I
their
was.
merch, eh?
Oh, you. Oh, I think I did see that because I was on
National
Paranormies.
Records is me.
I
I'm
like.
the nation.
I like your story, and I was on Paranormies like a couple months ago as well. And I'm good friends with Johnny Monoxide and
He's a
Alt
great dude.
Skull. Yeah,
Yeah, I love Alt, man. Alt was actually the first one I met through all of them. A buddy of mine I think he's an IRL friend of him. If not, he's a friend who's known him kind of from the beginning of the old, way back, the original Proud Boys, right? And and if anybody's listening, follow the story. Don't go crazy and spurg out. There's a lot of really funny things that happened, especially like Alt's schism with Gavin. That was probably my favorite thing about Alt, but I didn't even really know about any of that stuff until the COVID gay op happened and I started being more active and vocal about things because I kind of hid my views. And I encourage people to not hide your views. Like, literally just tell people what you are and you're pro this, and you're aware that these things in history were a subversion. Just do it. You don't have a lot of time in this world, and it's not like you should leave it for your children to do. So just like grow a dick and do it.
Most
But
people are not really convinced of their own convictions. They don't really have convictions. Like if you're talking to the average, let's say, let's call them a liberal, your average working class liberal, they really don't have a lot of beliefs they would stand by when challenged. And you can test them, like just get into a conversation. And if you let them know that you want to like have an argument, like a lot of times they'll just listen because they've never had to even discuss the things that they believe. They've never been
uh,
stress tested.
I got something for you. See, the liberal has been created into a fine information war fighting machine. It's the conservatives that's the actual problem. See, long term here, what's going to happen is the liberals, with their endless desire to virtue signal, are going to essentially realize that they are like the SS. And I know people out there listening to me, you think I'm crazy. It's fine. It's cool. I've got a really long sight. It's fine. You'll see it. Greg Arcade's always right. There's memes on my channel. You'll see it. They're the ones who are going to flip over and be like, oh my gosh, like, these lies from these previous wars, which I can't talk about in Canada because it's a crime. They essentially, they lied about everything. So we're going to be the ones out in the street hatcheting people to death. And they're going to be calling guys like us who have been aware of this for a long time, losers for not being out there murdering people with them. And the person who's going to be getting murdered is the conservative. The conservative is the one who claps like a seal for the Zionist, right? Because that's the bourgeoisie term of the week. They clap for them as they destroy them. And I kind of had this realization the other day that it was probably most of the people that the Bolsheviks just yeeted were probably the conservatives. Like they killed a lot of people, but they went after these conservatives because the conservative just sits there and takes it and praises that which destroys him. And then there's the dudes like us who like go and be like, yeah, yeah, you can kiss my ass. I'm not giving you any guns back. I'm not giving you anything back. Like,
There's something
ghost.
uniquely pathetic about a lot of the conservatives in that they
Yeah.
try and prostrate themselves, but then the people who they're trying to appeal to don't respect them anymore. Like,
Like, I agree with your
yeah,
point before too. I don't want to sound like I'm just being contrarian here. I agree with what you're saying. I just wanted to bring up like a further realization of what happens in the
yeah.
long
Like,
term
what
from
is
what I see.
Pierre Polyev? Like, is anyone energized by Pierre
He's
Polyev? Like,
he's a
what is he?
Chinaman. Like, did you not see how I lit him up on Twitter last week, where he was singing that like Chinese lullaby? And it's like
That's the
he,
weirdest shit, and it's also filmed on a
yeah.
camera from 1980, so it's like a Chinese event.
What kind of fucking queer gets up on a stage and does that kind of thing? It's like, hey, Greg, we really want you to get up there and sing for these Chinese people. It's like, why? Well, because we're gonna pay you and they're gonna support you. Be like, well, I'm not fucking singing this song. This is gay. Like,
Because
I'll sing
it's a
something better for
humiliation.
them.
It's a
Yeah, they want to hear.
humiliation ritual.
Yeah, you
Like
want to hear one of
imagine
my
if
songs? I'll get up there, sure. But I'm also going to be cheeky on the microphone and probably make some jokes. Pull back the sides of my face.
I hate to pull this card, but like imagine if the roles were reversed and there was like a room full of white people and they made the Chinese guy get up there in like a big cowboy hat and sing like a Western song. You'd be like,
Be
this
awesome.
it would be awesome. But I'm like, I think we are humiliating this guy, right? Like we're making
Yeah,
fun of him.
that is what they did to him for sure. And essentially, what it does is it emasculates him before he is, because he's the selected next leader of the country. Before the show, we were talking about some interesting things that I don't know if any audience is really ready to handle. Do you think? Should I drop it? Okay, so a lot of people are just like, we hate Freeland, we hate Trudeau, we hate Goulbert, we hate all these guys, right? Okay, let's go through them in that list. So Freeland, there's news articles about her in Ukraine doing like fascist activism. Her grandfather was a fascist. Do you think, like, would you turn on your grandfather for money? I don't think she would. I don't think she did. She was clapping to the Galatian Waffen SS guy. She helped bring that in, right? Like, who came to the House of Commons, right? Like, they were clapping. Because I think that she was legitimately clapping. Like, we're the serfs, guys. We have to realize the things we see are not represented as they're actually happening at a different level from us. Our level responds to things differently than they do. So you've got Freeland, who I'm pretty sure is still banging the drum and playing the political game, and maybe she's a master spy, or maybe she's retarded. I don't know. I'm a serf, so I'm retarded. So what do I know? Only that I'm retarded, right? Now you've got Gilbert. I can't say his last name because I've only ever heard people make fun of it. So I can only say it the way they say it. Now he's the climate minister or something like that. Now here's this guy who was arrested for eco-terrorism. And people are like, oh, he's a terrorist. He hates this place. It's like, yes, you're correct. Well, why is he in the government? To destroy this place. It's like, that's it. Like, wouldn't you? Okay, dude, if you were like at some like, okay, so you were in Charlottesville, right? And you were holding a tiki torch and they threw you in jail, like some guys are now. And then you were like, I got a lot of time to think about this. I fucking hate this place. I fucking hate everybody here. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to fuck it up for all of them. Is he not doing exactly that? Like, he doesn't care about the fucking environment. He doesn't care about any of that shit. He's just making money and like fucking this place up for everyone who called him an eco-terrorist. Same thing with Trudeau. Like, I have my speculations about the guy. He has worldly tastes. Very, he prefers the company of men. But that's just him, right?
I thought his card he was going to play was that he was going to come out of as at least bisexual. I thought
he is going to by the next election. I'm pretty sure. I won't put money on it because things are not as they seem, and I'm a retarded serf. But let's look at what they've done recently. He just passed a bill that makes it not allowed for international students to work more than 20 hours a week here. Okay, so that might not seem great because they're bringing in all these migrants, they're doing all this stuff, right? Yeah, I get it, but he that was kind of a nationalistic thing he posted. Another thing he did, the flip knives, right? Flip knives are going to be illegal right away, but they're only illegal for import. They're not illegal for manufacture and sale here. So locally manufacture them. Same with WD-40, aerosol cans, like seafoam, stuff like that. You won't be able to buy that after January 1st because there's going to be like restrictions on the size of the can. So, boys, that's the new Bitcoin. But
interesting.
So, yeah, if you didn't know about that, pick that up. And so let's go deeper into this topic. How many of you guys had your purchase and acquire license for firearms before the last 3 years? Did you? How long have you had a gun? You don't have to tell me, but like, it's just like,
no, I only got my license fairly recently within the past
so yeah,
years.
so did I, man. I was a faggot until I did. You know, like 3 years ago or something when things started going bad. Trudeau's policies have created more firearms owners in the country than ever before. His handgun ban made sure that every single handgun sold out, and now they're everywhere in the country. Right? Like, he passed that ban, and then later that Friday, they were all sold out. Not a single handgun in the country. No more imports, sure. But like I said, maybe we start manufacturing within the country again. Maybe that will change things because that can put pressure on the government. That's neither here nor there. This is just things to think about. All these things that they did have made us stronger. Hey, you have to take this experimental injection. Well, fuck you. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to learn about health. Now I know a ton about health. Now I know a ton about making food, like gardening, you know, and the poisons in food. Now I have connections with local farmers. I have connections with local producers. I know people who have sawmills. I know people who like do everything. I have a great community of people around me. I wouldn't have had any of that had I not been threatened to lose it. Because Canadians won't do jack shit until they're threatened with losing it.
That's so interesting.
We would have sat here and slid into garbage. Now, what's going to happen if the Conservatives get in power, man? They're going to roll things back. People are going to get convenient and lazy. Convenience kills, right? Inconvenience makes us stronger. Now, everything on the surface tells us that this liberal government is shit. And I agree. They literally wrote hate articles about me. But I'm an example as well. Would I have become what I become had they not attacked me? Would I be here today advocating for white voices? Would I be here today building things for dissident voices? Would I be here today on your podcast? Would we even know each other? Or would you have heard of me on Instagram with me posting photos of my fake life and being like, this guy's a fucking faggot? Because I used to be one. And it's okay to admit it, guys. We're Canadians. We were heavily psyoped into the most degenerate bullshit that ever happened. And you know what got us out of it? This liberal government, man.
And you know what? I know my co-host disagrees with me when I say this, but in some sense, I am happy that we have someone like Trudeau there, because I think it would be a lot more treacherous if we had someone who was more capable. Like it's a bit more beneficial to have someone who's so
He's
nakedly
wildly
hated.
capable, man. And the
So
thing
I
is,
was going to
too,
ask you everything you just said. Do you think that's due to a plan, or do you
I
think
can't
that's
know.
due to ineptitude?
I can't know. Like I'm not a Q retard here. I'm aware of Operation. What was that? It's not Operation Paperclip. What's the one? The one where they say like the hero that's presented, like the Bolsheviks used.
Yeah, yeah.
Is that Paperclip? I can't remember at this point. I'm
I'm trying to remember
retarded.
what Blue Beam was the UFO one.
Yeah, but you know what I'm talking about. The
Yeah,
one where
paper.
they.
I think wasn't Paperclip like the Nazi, like the
Oh yeah, Paperclip
fuck.
was when they brought them over, right? So I'm not going to look it up, guys. That's just what it is now. But
Just name a psyop and name a thing, and it happened.
yeah, like the one I'm talking about is when the Bolsheviks essentially said trust the plan until they had everyone in the gulags and they just starved them to death. Like, guys, we're not the gulags people. The gulags people are the ones who went to bars during all this and took 50 injections so that they could go do cocaine in the bathroom in a downtown shithole where the cook doesn't wash his hands and the beer's too expensive. We're the people who are like, fuck that. I guess I'll just like stay home. And it's like, okay, now I've learned how to like field strip my shotgun, throw it back together in 10 seconds, like, and then you do that for a while and then you realize like, well, that's a pretty good skill, but like, am I just going to sit here and wait for some like violent revolution for someone else to kick it off? Maybe I'll kick it off. And then it runs through your head all the scenarios. It's like, holy shit, they'd murder the fuck out of me and my family. So you go further and you go, oh, well, that's a good skill to have. Maybe I'll learn to hunt. Maybe I'll learn to deal with nuisance animals. Maybe I'll chop down my Christmas tree with a shotgun. Whatever. It doesn't matter, right? You got a shotgun now. That's a skill you got because you chose not to be a disgusting scumbag and continue in the old world. And if there's anybody out there who's listening who did do that, I don't like you.
Yeah, and also I think a lot of people are still looking for, I would say, a 20th century definition of what a revolution looks like and what a leader looks like, and I don't think they've really internalized the type of revolution that would occur in the information age, especially with all
Do
of
you
the
want to know?
pressures.
You want to know how to kickstart that revolution? Draw a new map of Canada. Now, don't draw a map that has bees. I was thinking about this today while I was driving the dogs for a hike. Don't draw BC, Alberta, blah, 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 whatever the federal government tells you. Draw an actual map. So you'd be like, oh, okay, well, the Calistanis live here. Over here is just like all sub-Saharan and Somalis, like Toronto's gone. There's just a whole bunch of areas that don't exist and do that. Like if someone actually took a map of Canada and redrew it and started showing people who are like asleep, like I know they won't wake up, but it'd be fun for us to have to just be like, well, here's Blood Satellite's little country. They got a couple blocks here, and like stuff like that. When you look at it and be like, oh, it's gone. It doesn't exist. How could you say that? Well, because the federal government is essentially just leeching everything off. The federal government is held in place by a shoddy fat woman run RCMP. And like, is that Brenda lady still there? I don't know, but she's fat, like fatter than me. And then, and then, like everything else is like you're surrounded by people who wouldn't do jack shit if you went out there right now and started burning down their house.
Yeah, and also this something we had said on the show, and people are probably sick of me saying this, but we covered the trucker protest when it was occurring. I even went out to see them as they're crossing by where
I
I
did
live.
too. Yeah.
Yeah, what it revealed was that the Canadian government doesn't really have the infrastructure or the capabilities to stop something like that, and they wanted to desperately. They just don't have the boots on the ground. They don't have the money. They
They
don't have the
called in all the
capabilities.
parkies, and then they called in every person from a sand country who works for a security company now. Because that's how it is. Every single security company is full of people from there, because those are going to be your paramilitary units that start joining up the RCMP when they start trying to do bad stuff within the next 10 years.
Yeah, and
So
also the
start
reason
a
that
security
matters.
company, boys.
And the reason that matters for people is because this is my suspicion that most of the North American governments, I think, have pegged white people and also white men specifically as troublemakers. And COVID was a great example. And you had mentioned the people who went along with COVID but did it wrong. I think the best example of because white guys tend to take a stand for things, and we talk about sacrifice and duty. Most other types of people just kind of go along. And the visual example I always had was like the black guy wearing the mask but not covering his nose. So I'm like, you're doing it, so you're cowardly, but you're also doing it wrong. You know what I mean? But that's most people. Like someone
You mean
like us
like
would be like,
you mean like when he puts the gun sights to 10 because they're the most powerful at 10, like in
exactly.
Rhodesia? Yeah.
I love hearing stories like that. I'm like, you guys, we're dealing with. They haven't really changed much over the
But
past 200
there's a
years.
good point you bring up there, though, man, that white guys, because white guys have traditionally taken a stand for things, look, they've decimated our populations for it. We took a stand to deal with them dang Nazis, right?
And
And
that's why they
we all know
hated
that
all the
that
white
shit's,
guys in the military who weren't getting vaccinated. They gave them the bums rush right out of the military. Now they're begging them back, but it's always white guys who are like, I'm going to take a principled stand for whatever the thing is. So, but I
but the
think
thing that I'm a big proponent of, man, it's really interesting you bring this up, and I appreciate it. And I know I just cut you off in
no, no,
conversation,
no, no,
but
no. Please feel free.
that don't matter. It's fine. Just kidding. But the thing is, like, you guys, we have to fix what we take a stand for. Our empathy is out of control. Our empathy's been out of control forever. We've been empathetic for people who don't deserve it. So, like, we're empathetic for things like, oh my gosh, someone on the internet was mean to that Jew. I better get in there and leave something in the comments. Like, there's tons of white dudes who are probably listening to this who were that white dude 10, 12 years ago. It's the same thing with, like, this whole thing. Are we going to take a principled stand to fight this COVID tyranny? Well, 2 years ago, me was like, yeah, we got to do this. You know, we got to organize. We got to do this. I wouldn't do it today. And you know why? Because I saw the vast majority of these people living in these homes, these hovels, they would call us tyrants for protecting them. And I realized that, okay, still a lot of people out there who hate the shit out of this and they want to be indentured. So what's the solution to this? Well, intentional communities is probably a good place to start. You know, you get a little homeschool building where you can stop your children from being subverted and people don't have to send their kids to public school. You guys hold a couple blocks of a rural community and you hold it down and you grow from there, because we can't win this overnight. What's your plan? That's a very important thing to say, because, like, even when those videos came out from Ukraine of the Donbass guys who started shooting the Ukrainian guys in, like, the little barracks and stuff, because that was how they started that big psyop war. Fuck, I don't even know where I'm
No. But I think you
going.
mentioned something important there
like,
about intentional communities, and like
yeah.
the thing. I've got a young son who's 8 months old, and as a
Hey,
parent, you're
congratulations, man! I just became a father not long
well.
ago.
It's a wild ride, as I'm sure you
It
know.
is awesome. You
But I'm sure
guys,
you're
anyone
thinking
out
about the
there,
same stuff.
find a legitimately good woman, stop chasing them, and have babies. There's nothing better than having a baby.
I will
Nothing
say to
better.
people, just make it past the first couple. It's going to suck for like a little bit,
Oh
especially the
yeah.
first weeks.
Oh, we're
But
still there. So
you do hit this period. Like he's at month 8, and he's genuinely, and for the past few months, he's the most fun creature I've ever met. Like
my
it's
little
such
my little
it's
sweetheart has just started smiling, and it's just kind of like when daddy's around, she's like right into it and all
you're
that.
actually
And
gonna like when they start like
oh
trying to
man,
test you. Like when he starts like, no, I'm not gonna eat that. And then he looks at you in the eyes and tries to mean mug you. I'm like, that's hilarious that you're learning how to like be a
Dimes,
dick.
bro, you got to send me some physiognomy photos here so I can make sure that you're like cool, and then we can do arranged marriage.
All right, sounds good. Make
Man, I'm
sure
gonna be
like
very scrutinous though.
I got a good head of hair
Me
and I
too,
got
man. Man, this is the longest my hair's ever been in my life. It's almost down to it's almost down to my tramp stamp.
I've
But yeah.
I've been wearing my hair long for like a bit. Like it's down to like my shoulders now. And I dig it. And
What kind of hair you got? See, I didn't know this because I've never had a hair this long before in my life. But if it gets really long with me, I have like really like fine wavy curls, and it's turning into dreads, man. And so it didn't happen when it was at shoulders. It was about 2 inches below shoulders that where it's like if you don't comb that shit every day, you have a dreadlock that you sit there pulling apart for 3 hours. It's insane, and it sucks dick, man. It's the worst. My wife took me to Winners to buy detangling shampoo. I felt like such a gay lord.
well, you do have
Like,
a Sublime cover that you've done, so that's very on brand to have
I
the
did it
one
better,
guy
didn't I?
dreadlocks.
Didn't I do
Yes.
it better? I feel like I did it better.
I saw it was Jeremy McKenzie who left, I think, a really positive comment on that one as
Did you
well.
listen to it or did you just check it out?
No, I listened to it. I listened to the whole thing. I actually like that whole album, that
Oh,
neon.
the Neon 90s. It was funny because I was trying to get soundtrack to the Collapse done, and it was like it was a blazing hot summer here in Manitoba. And then I was just like, I just want to do these two like 90s too. Well, not even 90s. Like one was like early 2000s, and now my dog just got let in from barking outside, and now she's bugging me. But it felt fun to just kind of rip that tune, do it a little different. But my favorite part of the record was the album art because I put Pizza Hut in there.
I saw
Right?
that's. I was about to ask you because I looked at the cover. I'm like, that is a Pizza Hut, right?
Oh yeah. So I do all the art. For people who don't know, maybe I'll just do like a quick aside here. I do all the art. I do all the mastering. I do all the production. I do all the mixing. I play all the instruments. I try to play them as organically as possible. So like I actually play drums and bass and guitar and piano and all those things, right? And when I write my songs, I try and write them now. Like 5 or 6 years ago, I was in writing sessions with people who would be like, "We got to make sure we put feet up on the dash because all the white women like that." Like legitimately, someone said that, and said that several times with different groups. And now it's just like, I don't think I sent you my latest record there, but I will after the interview here. But I've got like songs that are just like, Keep Your Wind on Your Face is like a song that a lot of people tell me is the sleeper hit because it's pulling on heartstrings. Because in the bridge, it talks about holding that flashlight for your dad when you're working on cars and like shit like that. And because that's really my life, man. Like my dad yelled at me so much because I was such an idiot with that flashlight and I'd like not be pointing it at the right spot. But that's part of being a dad. I can't wait to do that to my kids and yell at them for not holding the light while I'm fixing the car or I'm spending hours fixing something that could be done in like 15 seconds at my buddy's shop or something, right?
It's so fun because I've already told my wife and she's caught me doing it. I'm making up dad facts.
Oh,
So
yes.
like
What do you
asking
have?
like a
I
fact
have them too.
just about what type of animal is that? I'll make up an animal and make up a country. I'm like, yeah, whatever their logic dictates. I'm like, yeah, it's that. It's
Big time. Well, we're not, our little one's not there yet, but I'm already like playing to her little things. And she's manipulating me already, like how chicks do. Yeah, it's
also
happening
just for
already.
people I know, you can get good practice on this by gaslighting your wife.
Well, like I've been doing that for years, but why else would I have a
just start
wife?
making shit up and
Yeah.
convincing them. But yeah,
Uh,
like my
it's super
co-host has
I've done
2
that so
daughters.
much, man.
But
Um,
like it's so fun, just because you don't think it'll be as fun as it is, and a lot of guys are
yeah.
scared and they think things are going to
And you know
change, and
why
usually they change for the better.
they're scared? Because the Judaic media lied to them about it their entire lives. And they didn't listen to their parents. And their parents probably lied to them too, because the Judaic media lied to them through shows like Tool Time and all this stuff that tell you that like kids are hard. And it's like everything's hard, no matter what you do. But there's nothing better in your life than children. There really isn't. And family. That's another good one too. Like maybe you're of a disposition where you can't have children, whatever. I get it. But being a part of your family is important. And there's going to be some people out there who don't have a family. I understand that too. But there's people in your life who have become your family. Like you sit there and you support them. And that's the greatest thing in life. Hands down. Oh, this is such a sweet episode, man.
It is. It's hey, when you're at the blood satellite, good things happen. But
Blood
I'm also going to
satellite's
say,
so based.
what once you for a lot of people, they'll realize that's maybe their family doesn't even know how to be a family, and it's up to them sometimes to create their own family, to start family traditions, because you didn't have any family traditions. That's an interesting thing as well. And once you realize how easy that is to do, because some people, they have a hard time conceptualizing kids because maybe they didn't have a good childhood either, but I'm like, you can literally just start that stuff. You could start, let's have a game night. What's that like? We could start all these traditions. All of a sudden Christmas makes more sense.
And
It's weird being an adult into Christmas.
there was an entire year. So my dad had this room in the basement of the house he built for our family, and he put a ping pong table in there and he cleaned everything out. And we like made our own version of ping pong where we were playing with rubber bouncy balls and just whipping them on every like corner of the room and the walls and stuff. And it's like every Thursday for like a year was ping pong night at our house. And then we got a little older and then started like, get to the point where you start like drinking wine with your parents and stuff. And we started playing crib all the time and stuff like that. And it's like, those are the things that are so worth it in this life. And maybe this even ties into earlier in the conversation with the dudes who just want to do the violent overthrows and things like that, where it's like, why are you doing that so that you can have more free time to do these beautiful moments? Or are you just doing it because you're like spiritually angry and defeated? And can you reject that? Yeah, like reject that and just be like, hey, I need to like check myself. And that's my dog. I don't know if you can hear that or not, but she's like,
It actually sounded like a person for a second there.
oh yeah. Well, they're both my dogs are huskies, so they talk like crazy and they're very needy. But anyway, just like focus on that what matters. And you know what, this is tying beautifully into all the things we talked about, like from like we're not the ones who will be massacred by the Bolsheviks and all these things, because the people who get massacred and the people who get destroyed and all that don't take these values and hold them close to their heart and build upon them. They don't say, the people who survived those massacres were the ones who like they said guns were illegal, so you can't have them. It's like, fuck you. So you kept them, right? It's the same thing with like, you can't grow your own garden, but I grew my own garden anyway. Like those are the things that keep you alive, and those are things that move you on. Because like with the Trudeau thing where it's like inverted, it's really just it's separating the wheat from the chaff. It's bringing the strong to the top, cream to the top and all that. Like it's it's awful because as empathetic people who can't keep our empathy in check because we're white dudes and that's just part of our genetic makeup, you feel for everybody and you want to be like, hey, don't do that. That's mean. That hurts those people. But when you realize it, it's like, man, fuck those people. Like, I care about me. I care about you. Do I use your call sign on the show? I haven't even said your name.
Oh,
Dimes.
you said dimes a couple times. I think.
Dimes.
Yeah.
But I try to just stick to call signs as it goes anyway. But like, you take care of your people, you take care of your friends, and now we're talking for the first time ever in a space that will be public when you publish this show. And it's like, you're my buddy now. And who knows, maybe we'll have some big dramatic internet falling out, but I kind of tend to avoid those because I just kind of stick with good people.
And
And I feel
also,
like
as
you're
I get
good people.
older, yeah, as you get
Yeah.
older too, and you get to family, like something you had said there, I just wanted to mention. I find, and this isn't the case for everyone, but I find a lot of the guys who have a wife, have a family, and also have something figured out with their house and whatever, they are sort of a leader of their own microcosm. So they already have within their zone of influence, they've adopted the skills to be a sort of leader. And so I find those guys tend to be able to work together a lot better because they've actually, through trial and tribulation, made to the point where they've got their emotions under control usually, and they have a certain toolbox of skills to have made it that far. So
Well,
those are the guys I find aren't you're not going to get big dramatic fucking nonsense with them
you
either.
do have your boys in your crew who you've probably always had for a long time if you're fortunate enough to, right? Like I've got like a really strong couple local small crews, which like one or two guys from group chats, right? And it's funny because the most prominent one, which is like the boys, the one dude who would always be bringing up like, guys, this is retarded. Like I'm just gonna be a. I know you guys are talking about like how angry you are, but like just move on with it. Like now that I have a family, I'm like, oh, he was right, and you kind of see like you can't turn off the fact that that there is evil trying to destroy you. You're aware of this, but the way that you approach it is differently once there's more on the line, once there's people relying on you because you're the man, you're the patriarch, you're the head of your household. People are relying on you to remain alive because you are like the strength and the protector. And once you're gone, that's dangerous for them. So you don't think about things in a dumb way of like, well, we're gonna stop this COVID tyranny and overthrow it for everybody. And we're gonna have our own 1776 libertarianism, free guns for everybody here in Canada event. Like those are those dudes who were doing those like freedom for the children convoys and stuff. Like these like old guys who used to be strippers and shit who are like trying to like rekindle their lives or something. And it's like, man, check your spirituality. Like I don't knock on people who do like the pagan bro thing. I do follow Jesus Christ, of course. I don't care who knows it. I don't knock on people who don't because very recently, like I'm from Canada. I saw the path. I saw how I rejected that world and I came back to it. And my belief system doesn't discount the pagan stuff, doesn't discount like the Arianity and all these different like ways because it all ties together in the way that I understand the world now. And I find that like there's a lot of guys out there uh, who don't even consider that kind of thing. And even guys who will just be like, listen, I follow Odin because I saw the show Vikings once. And it's like, dude, like, have you looked into the belief system? Maybe you don't follow that. You don't have to follow it either way, but you don't have to sacrifice yourself to go to Valhalla for a bunch of people who don't care about you. And that ties back into the thing I was saying before of like the realization of like most of Canada doesn't care. But there were a lot of people out there in the convoy thing who do care. And like I think even of like my wife's friend, her aunt, she was so worried. And I met her at a farmer's market in the middle of winter. And she met me, and here's this dude who's just like, yeah, don't buy from those guys. Those guys are faggots. Because like I knew they were like this like super woke company and stuff. And she was just like, she wasn't put off by that. She was like, oh, you're a dude. You're a guy. You're a man. And it's like, yeah, like men don't get along with everybody. You're not supposed to because you're a man. You have territory. You're supposed to like, you can have trade agreements with other men who are amenable to your own system. However, you don't have to be getting along with everyone, especially not people who believe in fucking kids. And I don't mean like they believe in kids. I mean like they believe in putting penis in children. And that's weird to me, and I'll never be okay with that. But like some of those companies out there, they do that because they virtue signal for that. Even if they only virtue signal it for the dollars, they're still promoting that degeneracy. And so that kind of like solid rock comes from these belief systems that I once thought were so stupid and gay, and then realized that it was just me being gay. And I had to throw myself from a roof to spiritually realize that, we can come together, but we have to come together about the right things and fight for the right things in our lives.
Can I also just say an example from my life, right? It's something similar, maybe a bit more egregious than you, but I was, with the in-laws, and sometimes I talk without thinking, or I just don't. I'm tired because when you have a kid, of those who have children, you're always kind of tired. You're never not tired. It's just how tired you are.
I get you 100%. Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm just sitting there and they're going through Netflix and what they want to watch, and it's some show. I forget the show, but it was like, Netflix is full of like black lady shows, and like, you want to watch this? And I just said like, I don't want to watch any shows or movies with black women in them at all for the rest of my life. I just don't want to do it. It bothers, and they're like, really? I'm like, yeah, I just don't want to, and I'm not even going to explain it. I just don't want to do it. It's not going to be good. It's never been good. And then they're like, they've never heard that before. I'm like, you can just say it and realize that
Sister
you don't
Act?
like it either.
There's nothing subversive about Sister Act.
I might have seen that.
Dude, I'm joking. Of course, that was the worst.
I'm trying to think. I'm like, it's Whoopi Goldberg.
Whoopi Goldberg.
Like, was she ever good?
Whoopi Goldstein? Yeah.
That's right? Like she's a black one who just got a Jewish last name.
Oh, wow. Just by chance. That's funny too. That's the thing that nobody really talks about, but I've been talking about recently within like my guy crews here, is that and whatever, if you guys are going to ostracize me for this, whatever, but like I have quite a bit of respect for like black nationalist groups as well too, because they see what we see in the sense of like, oh, there's actually like a genetic subversion happening within their communities as well too, which is drawing them towards being these like pink hair BLM people.
Let me just say this though, and this, I'm glad you mentioned this because I was going to relate this to something you had said earlier when you had said when you were getting raked over the coals and no one stood up for you and they all abandoned you. I saw the same thing happen with Kanye West when he was going on his whole
Kanye
thing
so much.
And
He's so funny.
I know that half of all rappers for sure, and I'd say most black entertainers are Nation of Islam aligned. And they agree essentially with everything Kanye West was saying, and none of them went to bat for him. Maybe Dave Chappelle kind of.
I saw a few, man. I saw
no one from the fucking where was the Wu-Tang Clan? Where was all these
big guys did it? I saw medium guys who like brought up the fact that it was like, hey, Kanye, you're not saying the right thing. You're saying that the Jews are literally controlling you like a slave master. Yeah, so we're gonna whip you. We're gonna whip you.
Where was Kendrick Lamar? He's a fucking black Hebrew Israelite. Well, he literally thinks black people are the original
because
Jews.
he is split with Jewish genetics, and he is implanted there to be a figurative leader. This goes back to what you're talking about way before with like the marketing thing. Like, people don't just get put in front of you because they're popular. They're placed there. Oliver Anthony was a faggot from the moment he got out there. I don't care what anyone says. You could see it. And then what happened? He came out being like, diversity is our greatest strength. And being like, I love Joe Biden. And
I wanted to know what you thought about him because I didn't.
You don't have to like Trump to be on my side because I don't like him either. See, people on my side are not retarded. So we go, politics are gay, politicians are gay, localism's good, right? And so, I don't know if you saw what happened with me during Oliver Anthony. I called it out as a psyop immediately. I was on the Paranormies episode where we were talking about him being a psyop, right? And I had people flooding my channels, calling me fucking jealous and shitty and all these things. I'm like, you guys are fags. Like, how do you not see this? Like, the whole world decided this is important all of a sudden. And like, who likes that song now? Let's say we're 3 months away from August when that happened. I never said once that I didn't like the song. I didn't really like the song, but I never said I didn't like the song. It was whatever it was. It affected a lot of people because it was designed to do that. But now who's singing it? You got these guys who are part of these like like the fag voice, the not real convoys, the things that are created to make people a part of them so that we can psyop people further, right? They're the ones who are singing these songs. All of our guys realize that, like, this guy's the worst. You see that video of him playing that show in his little gay pink cowboy hat? Like,
I'm just
come
looking up.
on.
I'm looking him up right now because
It's
as you
just
brought him up, I'm like,
my
what the fuck
channel.
happened to Oliver Anthony? Where did he
Yeah,
go? Like
because
he was
that's the
everywhere.
thing. It was a psyop, and I was right. I was in this chat with like the White Art Collective, which I'm still an advocate for. I think it's great, right? But there was people in there, like some fucking Telegram bitch whose name was like Vril Queen or something. Oh, you're invoking the Vril. Oh, really? Oh, yeah.
Vril Queen sounds like a name I would make up if I was trying to like make up a person from
She was
Telegram.
making fun of me. She's like, oh, yeah, like a lot of people care about your 600-person Telegram channel. I'm like, I had way bigger channels before I was like attacked by the feds and the RCMP, and I shut them down for my own safety, man. You know, like, and that doesn't bother me that it's like, oh, I don't have a lot of people in my channels. What bothers me is that you don't even see the fact that if you have 5 people in your channel who care about what you do, then that's worth doing, right? Like, it's like, oh, you don't have enough. You don't have 10,000. You don't have a K at the end of your Instagram. It's like, it's all gay, guys. It's all gay. Oliver Anthony had 10,000 news articles put out the day he went viral. That's not possible. People don't run that quickly, especially like journos. They don't fucking care. You need to like sit there and beg them for a bit of attention, and then they write something shitty about you or just publish the exact email you sent them. They don't write articles about you unless you actually do like
This is quite literally the case that I've made before. It's like, oh, you got 10,000 followers. What are you? Gay?
Yeah, well, that's how I feel about my Instagram. I should shut it down. Like, it almost came up to 10K, but guys, I came by those 10K by nefarious means. And no, I should say by nefarious memes. That's better than
by media manipulation, actually.
Yeah, like the people who follow my Instagram, I've probably got like maybe 100 on there who care what I do, and you can see it in my likes. Like, people don't give a fuck. But then
you could always tell with the engagement. That's the big red flag.
But the engagement's insane, man. There's like 175,000 likes on one video, and like other shit. And then I post a picture of my tomatoes, and it's like 3.
It's the no peaks sense. And valleys of that is so fucking funny to me. Like, even on my TikTok, because I have a guy who makes social media clips for us. I just throw them up, and one will get
Hollywood over here. He's got his own people.
I got a crew. I got a team. I got my guys.
Oh, Hollywood's got a team. He's probably got himself a team called the Hollywoods. Sorry, buddy. I'll explain this joke to you after, but
but I do have a team called the Hollywoods.
No, are you kidding?
No, I don't. But I'm going to now. I'm gonna make a secret chat.
You got it.
But like, one video will get literally 50 views, and then one will get 7.5 thousand, and you actually don't know. It's quote unquote the algorithm.
I'm gonna take some screenshots for you while we're talking and send you some of these stats on these insane videos that are on my Instagram. Guys, I'm never going to post anything worthwhile to Instagram. It is a garbage platform for garbage people. You know, like, sorry, I like you guys just fine, but let's be honest, Telegram's the only good place to meet anybody today.
Telegram is suspiciously good. I love Telegram to the point where I think that might be some kind of honeypot, because I can't figure out for the life of me.
Oh, it's a honeypot for sure.
There's something like 500 million people on Telegram currently, maybe over
There's more. The thing about Telegram, though, is that a few years before it got popular with us, it was popular in the media because it was a pedophile platform. They're using it to organize pedophilia and share pedophile porn. That's why it's a good file sharing platform. Yeah, my wife sent me some things about this. It's fucked up. So like, the leftists have been on here for a longer time than we realize. The leftists, guys, I'm not gay. I'm just saying, like, that's a relatable term. Okay.
Yeah.
Like,
we're trying to chase them off into Discord too. But like,
oh my God,
Telegram was always popular for like terrorist networks were also on. And then Signal is another one that they're supposed to be
on.
I
love Signal, but that's only for like the boys, you know, and also my family group chat of all things.
Telegram actually is a great file sharing, like hosting videos.
Oh,
People are
it's
sharing entire movies on there.
pay for Telegram Premium. It's worth it if you're sharing files and using it for business. Like I do audio production on here, and being able to send people like professional wave files, professional mixes, stems, all that shit. Right, like it's really fast on Telegram. If you check your Telegram right now, I sent you just like 4 of the reels I posted, like the stats on Instagram. Look at that shit.
That's fucking ridiculous. Holy shit.
Ridiculous, dude. All I did was remusic them.
So
And
this one's
so
got 2 million plays.
look at the other one. It's got like 4.7 million.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. And that's the thing. Like, that's why my account grew, because a bunch of people were like, this guy's a meme channel, right? Like, no one's reading my stuff, listening to my songs and doing that. Like, that's just that world, though. And that's that old fake and gay I was talking about. I'll tell you and your audience the secret to growth on Instagram. Very simple. You have a video that's no longer than 15 seconds. It has to be something kind of like comical or fun. And you have to use one of the musics that you put on in Instagram. So even if you put on the exact same song, you have to use the Instagram song. And then it'll go viral. Like, give it a few weeks and it kicks off. Yeah, I've got one. Even if you go on my Instagram, I've got I don't know if you saw this one going around on Telegram, but it's like the bear who like Sieg Heils, and it says like German bear. Yeah, and so they had some weird like fash wave edit on it, and I just put the old Erica on it, and that one's even got like 12,000 plays on Instagram.
Because I know we hate these platforms, but I always like them just as an entry point to see what we can make go over there.
There was a video my wife sent me, because she's always laughing at me with all my dumb stuff in my internet articles, but she sent me the bird who was he was marching, and it said Birdwaffen, and it had Erica playing, and that was on Instagram from like a normie account, like a normal fag was just doing that. And it's kind of like the published consciousness has, like, 5 years ago that song was taboo. You weren't allowed to like publicly listen to that song because it was the SS marching song. And now people are like putting it on everything because it's kind of like, we get it. This is funny.
Now seems like a very special time in this zeitgeist that we're in, where you can get away with a lot. Like, I don't know how long this is going to last, whatever we're in right now, but you can get away with a lot of things with regular people. Like, you've got a lot of the libs right now saying that we were wrong about mass migration in some sense. I'm like, okay, it's too late to turn that back. You fucked that up. But like, maybe there's an Overton window shift where we can, I don't know, crowbar it open even more. I don't know.
But man, why would you crowbar it open for them? This is going to get back to that point I was saying before. Like, yes, it'd be great for that all to happen, but the people who control those platforms are going to choose when that perceived Overton window shifts. What's going to happen with us is it's just like, hey, we've been aware for a while, so why aren't we setting ourselves up for success for when that happens? Like, you want to be out there every day streaming, beating it over the head of these people who might not get it? Or do you want to talk to the Blood Satellite crew? And the Blood Satellite crew gets it. And why don't we all just like tell them to like suck a dick, and we're just going to go do our own thing and be set up for this? It's like, guys, copper is really cheap right now. Here, I'm giving everybody here. Copper's cheap. I'm not telling you buy crypto. Buy copper coins, because copper is used in munitions a lot. And apparently there's some conflicts going on in the world. So even if you don't get like a 5x on your copper coins, you're going to store your wealth in copper, be able to sell them later and get your money back. So like, we should do things like that. We shouldn't be like the Right Stuff podcast, which is like, oh guys, we're definitely not Jewish. Definitely buy vaccine stocks to make money. Like, they did that. It's like, don't do that. That's evil.
They did do that, didn't they? I
forgot they did do that, and they laughed at people who didn't. It's like, listen, I didn't take no vaccines, but definitely I bought some stocks and I made some money. And it's like, yeah, there are evil ways to make money. You can go kill a motherfucker for some money right now. You know, you could whore for some money. I know you said you're a whore, but I know you're not actually a whore. like, but you can go make money that way, or you can lean on each other and be like, hey, like, I think this is going to be thing. Hey, I think ammonia is going to be a thing in generation of these EV batteries or some shit. A buddy was telling me this. I'm not all up on it, but do you support those industries? I don't. And I know it's about bettering your own position and your own life and all that, but I feel like there's better ways to do it. Like, I could have never put my head up and been like, hey, this is evil, and just kept playing songs about feet up on the dash, like I told you earlier, and maybe got some like hit song placed in a movie, got my money. But is that the way you want to make your living? Is that who you want to be? You want to fucking sell your people out for a dime? Dimes.
That's not where I got my name. It's not from selling people out.
Hold on, guys.
He's connected the dots.
Dimes. I'll be back for that dime and that nickel you owe me later at the end of the show.
Actually, as a joke, we call my son, his name on the show is Nichols.
Well, I'll be back for that quarter you owe me. And then later this week, I'll be back for that 50 cents you've been owing me. I mean, guys, can you believe that this Dimes character owes me $1 and he hasn't paid me?
See, we agree that I'm not a whore, but there's something about this that sounds OnlyFans-ish.
Do you know the meme I'm referencing right now?
I don't.
Oh, okay. So you have the fellow of a particular chosen variety who's like, it's like, Dad, can I borrow $10? And it's like, $10.
I know this. Yeah.
How could my son ask me for $20? Like, and then he's like jumping out the window. And so that's what I'm doing to you.
Okay.
There's at least 3% of your audience who got that. And they're like, arcade's funny.
I can tell this has already been a fantastic episode, and we've covered.
You shut your mouth. I will make sure that they hate me by the end of it. When does it end?
Actually,
it's like right now. If you would have hit right now, that would have been the perfect episode.
It would have been. Well, I was actually going to say in a minute or two, because I actually do have to go into bed right around now.
Whatever. Yeah, no, that's cool, man. I had a really good time.
Doing very well for like one bottle of rum. You're as good as I've
I don't. Like I told you this earlier, but I didn't tell the audience. I drink hard liquor one day a year, and it's the day we put up the Christmas tree. And that was today. So I don't know, I feel pretty good about it. I also cracked a whole bottle of the cider I brewed this summer too. So like, it wasn't just the rum.
I like that story where you drank a bottle of rum, cut down a fucking Christmas tree, and then went on this episode.
Well, we cut down the tree yesterday, and we saw a bear out in the bush. Where we were.
What type of bear?
So I'm all messed up because people tell me like brown bears look like black bears and black bears look like brown bears. But it was a smaller bear. It looked like an adolescent. I didn't see a mother around. That doesn't mean she's not around. But we were walking through the bush just looking for a tree. Not too far from the car, but decent enough because I had the 2 dogs with me, and we were out in Agassiz Forest, which is a nice, big, beautiful provincial forest. And we came across what looked like a discarded hunt camp. Like some hunters might have been there day before or something. And so we're walking, just kind of coming through the trees. And my one dog, Lottie, she's like really fast and she likes to scrap, but she just comes running and goes right around my legs and stands there. And she's looking. And then my other dog, Jake, is like, let's go, Dad, let's get this thing. And we saw something rustling around, and it looked like a smaller bear, like an adolescent or something. So he had black fur though. So
is it true when the people, like everyone around here says all black bears aren't to be worried about or concerned with?
Well, he kept his distance. We kept ours. Like I said, my one dog wanted to go, but my one dog's super loyal and takes care of his people. And the other dog, she'll range out, but when there's danger, she stays close. And so I didn't bring a gun with me because I was just going to grab a tree. So, like we were on Crown land, so it would have been fine. Like normally I probably would have grabbed a shotgun or something with me, but I wasn't thinking about it. I didn't care. And I was like, do we really want to chance this right now? Let's just walk back, And so we walked back. We actually found a beautiful tree. I'll send you a photo later, but, yeah, it's all decorated now. We did a black spruce. Last year we did like a white pine or something, and it was really bushy and nice, but my wife likes the black spruce because it gets like very rustic looking, and you get kind of this like rusticy home and garden looking tree. Even though it's more sparse, it's pretty beautiful. So
I know one thing I had read about, and this has been tested by myself and some others. If you come across a bear, really any type of bear in the woods, in the wild, if you can move like a snake, so by which I mean
Serpentine.
you can stay upright, but just kind of move in a snake like, put your hands to your sides. I'm doing it right now. It's probably coming through on the mic. Make yourself into a snake like guy. And
Okay,
they hate
Dimes.
that.
Dimes. If you did that to me and we're walking around somewhere and I knew you, I'd hate that. I'd be like, yeah, I gotta go. This guy is weird. Like,
Exactly. You'd
so,
flee. That's what's supposed to happen. You
okay,
flee from the person doing
dude,
that.
just don't be weird to a bear.
Don't be
Because they might be
weird.
like, oh, they'll probably look at you and be like, oh, it's sick. I don't want to eat that. If you serpentine and like, I see what you're doing, just like slithering around.
Yeah,
Oh man,
this is great evidence. It works on people too. If
dude,
you
don't
want
do
to,
that. Just fight the bear.
I like the tone of your voice. Don't do
Just don't.
that.
Like, okay, what if that bear eats you and the last thing you did was being a slithery faggot?
Then Jesus Christ will high five me. He says that was a
No,
good
I
bit.
think Jesus would be like, you need some time in purgatory to think about how gay you died. Like,
Guess what? Guess who's slithering his way through purgatory?
I don't know, man. Like, okay, like for the most part, I've had some experience with bears. Um, you don't have to like be weird to it. Most bears aren't going to come running at you unless there's some kind of threat, right? Because like they're just dudes, or they're irrational chicks, which you have to watch out for. But like for the most part, they're going to stick to themselves. They, if they do start coming at you, fight back, get big, because like if you're at the bar and you have a couple beers and you're being a dick to somebody and you start like fucking pissing them off, you might fight them, or you might just be like, oh, fuck you, dude, right? And like it's more likely that the bear is just gonna not want to deal with it because he doesn't want to go to like the bear tank for the night and have like I don't know. I'm just imagining bear police, but
It is funny. Like make yourself big, and the bear's coming towards you. You just get on your knees and start eating bread.
oh,
Just
I
make
don't want
yourself.
that many carbs.
You
I'm
gotta make
doing
yourself.
keto. That's what the bear says. The bear's Jewish.
It's because you got to make yourself big.
I get it, but at the same time,
Yeah. Hey, did
okay.
you hear
The
what I
thing is,
said?
though, yeah, I know you gotta get yourself big, eating too many carbs, whatever. Slam a few beers. Um, the thing is, though, too, like they say, like no matter what bear, get big. Don't get big if there's a polar bear. If it's a polar bear, you're gonna die. Like I went up
Yeah,
to Churchill once to play a couple shows. Those are big, and they don't care, and they'll just kill things in front of you to let you know that you're nothing to them. And I saw it. And so like there's that. If it's a grizzly bear, you're gonna die. It's gonna eat you. Like if it fucks off, it's probably just waiting for you to run away a bit so that like it can have a warm dinner. But like black bears and brown bears are kind of just like funny critters who can destroy the fuck out of you if they wanted to. But in that case too, just fight back, because it's a better story than being like, well, it ate my arm. But it's a better story. It's like it ate my arm after I punched it right in its throat. See, that's a good story, right?
that's a good story. It's worth a shot.
Yeah.
Anyway, we do have to get going. This is a
What are we
perfect
fucking
place.
talking about?
We're talking about this is a good ass idea zone.
Listen, you know what? We're going bear fighting this winter. You're coming to Manitoba. We're going bear fighting.
There's only one rule: don't be weird to the bears.
Don't be. No, you gotta fight a bear like you're a king. Yeah.
So before we go, I want to just refer
Yeah, man.
people to gregarcade.com, where you can find all of your releases, all of the information.
There's
Also check out
free music there as well too. And you can get there from gregarcade.com as well. Sorry, man. I just figured I'll help you. If you just go gregarcade.com, click on Substack at the top. It'll take you
Good
right
point.
there.
He's
And
got
then
everything you need there, including the merch store links.
there's free music there, and I do rotate the free music too. It's not always the same thing. There's also a jukebox, which is like a free music streamer. It's had the same album in it for like 7 months because like I've had other things to do. But I'll rotate the song in there, which is like some free songs to listen to ad free. The same thing is, like I said, I coded. You can turn off your phone screen or navigate away from the browser as long as you keep it open and keeps playing. Um, There's also ways to contact me. The best way is literally over Telegram. I think if you go to gregarcade.com/attempt to summon the legend, I gotta find this. Hold on. I gotta send this to you, man, because you're gonna laugh at this. Attempt to
I'm
summon.
typing it at the same time.
I think, yeah, it needs dashes. So this is the only actual contact form on my website. But if you're successful in filling out the contact form, Magic Flute will play. And if you're not successful, it'll play like it's a broken Magic Flute. Like in that show Gummy Bears. Remember where he had the Magic Flute and it was broken and he summoned the wrong dragon?
This is so funny.
I know. Like, and this is like, he's a very professional musician. No, this is what I do with my time.
You make it a labyrinthine problem to get in touch with you.
Oh, well, that's the thing too. It's like, if you go to the contact page and you actually click on contact to try and contact me, at the bottom it says, for professional contact, please ask someone who knows me. Because, like, I don't know. I don't want to fucking talk to people. Like, I'm a real dude. That's a big thing that I tried to explain to some people the other day, where it's like, I'm not trying to pretend I'm some like big fancy musician. Like, yeah, I play like 17 instruments, no big deal. But it's also just like, I'm just a fucking guy, and I'm sick of how stupid everything is, and I just want to hang out with my friends. And if you want to be cool, there's room for that. But if you want to join the Greg Arcade chat on Telegram, you will be banned. Like, that's just how it works. Like, if you've ever seen, it's just insane. But we just ban people because we're bored. All right.
Yeah, I've known some chats like that too. I think there's this other one for the Amerikaner network, and I'm on there, and they're always banning people. But
it's amazing.
Yeah, I got some credit with the house there. Anyway, I gotta head out. Everyone, check out gregarcade.com.
Just leave the recording going. I'll talk to the audience. No,
I can't give you that power.
Thanks for having me, man. I really appreciate it. I hope everybody enjoyed the show, and let's do this again sometime, man.
I'd love to. Yeah, absolutely. I think people are going to really love this one too.
Beautiful.
All right.
Do not let the rapists win. Listen and love Blood Satellite.